Writing on writer's block. Haven't slept in days, they wanna put me in a psycho watch.
Welcome to a new series that I am coining writer's block. It's a little double entendre here. So writer's block, it's something that happens to a writer where they don't have ideas. But also, if you're here watching this, you're probably also a writer. So I'm just going to call it writer's block. In this series, I'm going to document things I noticed along the way in writing my first book at 20 years old. I always look for great writers and what their writing experiences are like, and it's something that you can rarely find. My favorite part of every book is the beginning when they talk about all of the author's processes in writing the book, or sometimes they do it at the back of the book. Whatever it is, I'm just generally fascinated by how a book comes to be, especially the greats. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. By no means am I claiming to be a great writer or anyone that you need to take lessons from, but I'm just going to share what I'm learning along the way. Today's video is going to be the difference between writing for myself, getting my feelings on paper, writing for YouTube videos, and compare that, sorry, I can't talk right now, compared to writing for an actual book. And this is something for me that has been a challenge, and I'm writing because it's a challenge. I'm writing the book not so that I become a famous author. I'm writing just so that I experience something and learn stuff. I don't think there needs to be a better reason. I'm perfectly okay with writing a super shitty book, to be quite honest with you. And I need to be okay with that because it's my first book, so why should I expect to be an incredible writer? Now, normally I write just in a journal, and I will write whenever I learn something in my life, which is every single day. I just notice things, write them down, and then put them on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. That's how I've used my writing. I just write it down, put it on social media. That's how I've initially thought writing was most applicable. And then I just read all the time. I've read a bunch of novels, and it's really inspiring what you consume. If you consume art, you are naturally inspired to create it. And I've done that with my YouTube, but I want to do it in the way I initially set out to do it, which is writing. But one thing I quickly ran into is normally I've never developed one idea, one lesson, time and time again. That's not something I've been apt to do. Every YouTube video is pretty much written in one session. I just sit down and blurt out an idea. I'll edit it, but that's it. There's none of this year-long sit down day to day, develop one idea, develop characters, return process that I experience while writing a book. And I've been writing the book for about 2 weeks at this point, and I want to document it for the reasons I said earlier. But normally my ideas strike, I write them down, and then I walk away, and that's it. Never do I come back to an idea repeatedly, and it's kind of weird because I've almost trained my brain to do the opposite, to blurt out an idea, share it, and then move on to the next one. And I think that's cool. I think it gets this rapid fire capturing of moments going, but a book is much different. And I find myself trying to write about what I'm thinking about that day in the book instead of putting myself into the character in the book and thinking like him, which I think is probably the most fun part of writing a book. For context, the book I'm writing is effectively about a guy who struggles with the regular suffering of life, psychological insecurities, etc. But unlike most people who find an easy way out, he can't bring himself to find an easy way out. Long story short, that's the concept. So it's weird for me having to repeatedly put myself somewhere where I am not. I typically capture an idea immediately. If I'm walking down the street, and I get an idea, I'll write it down. And it's a learning process for me to see how do I take those learnings and implement them into a book, or Maybe I have to zap myself every time into the version of this character that I'm developing. I don't know. But it's definitely weird for me to just revisit something. That's not something I'm apt or used to doing. Another thing, I feel like writing the book has made me write less in other ways. Normally, it was just if I wanted to let off steam, I'd just sit down and write in a regular notebook. Now I have this book I'm developing, and I am writing longhand, pen and paper, because I like it more. I write way better like that. But I forgot where I was going with that. But I kind of run out of writing steam pretty quick day to day, which is weird, unusual, which is just a muscle in of itself. And all of these things I'm just saying because perhaps you want to write a book and you want to know what it's like. This is just genuinely what goes through my mind as I develop this book. But I'm going to finish this book, given that I survive. I think I'll publish the book this year. I don't see why not. So I think I'm going to conclude this episode here. This is a series that I think I just must share because I share everything I learn in my life. I share what I'm doing on here so that you guys can learn from it and take something from it. Because when someone rises to success, I always wonder what they did at the beginning. And I'm at a unique spot where I'm still in the beginning. I've made almost 500 videos, still in the beginning. I feel like it's kind of a duty of mine almost, not that I'm endowed to reach success, but I'm doing these things that could gain traction, and if they do, I would certainly want to know what it was like before. Even just small celebrities or social media influencers, it's spoken of in past tense how they came up. Oh, I used to be in the basement. I used to be packing orders just for hours. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. But they didn't really have documentation of that most of the time. People start businesses, start YouTube channels, etc. I feel like all that gets lost and it becomes just a relic that we can only talk about. But I feel like it's cool for me to be able to commit and know now that I'll be able to watch this later. So, welcome to Writer's Block. I'll just make a video like this whenever I want to talk about how my writing's going, and I feel like it's only necessary. I talk about what I do, so hope this was helpful. Peace.